We are approaching a threshold where artificial intelligence and advanced robotics will take over the vast majority of human labor. We are going to find ourselves with a massive surplus of the most valuable resource on the planet: time. As we transition away from traditional labor to seek connection and personal pursuits, our current digital infrastructure remains completely misaligned with our needs. We are relying on networks built entirely around corporate extraction, surveillance, and centralized control. Many developers have tried to build a truly decentralized web to solve this, but they usually attempt to build the entire house at once: dynamic apps, messaging, streaming, all at rapid speed. The resulting architecture is so fragile that these apps inevitably end up falling back on centralized cloud providers like AWS just to keep the lights on. To build a network free from middlemen and cloud providers, developers have to stop trying to frame the roof. They need to pour a permanent, indestructible concrete foundation first. That is the specific purpose of Autonomi 2.0. It is not the entire internet. It is strictly the underlying archive layer. We cannot launch our way to digital independence with a single app. Independence requires a slow, unalterable base layer to hold everything else up. The Autonomi 2.0 archive layer operates as a permanent vault. It is not designed to be a platform for fast-moving, dynamic apps that require constant, real-time updates. This diagram illustrates the core trade-off. Writing data to the network is deliberately slow, but reading it, the system shoots data to users blazingly fast. Uploads are throttled because every piece of data must pass through world-first quantum security applied to the TLS layer. The network utilizes military-level ml-dsa cryptography for key exchange and signing. Standard web platforms prioritize instant, dynamic uploads above all else, which leaves them vulnerable to data harvesting and breaches. Autonomi 2.0 flips that priority, placing security, privacy, and absolute permanence ahead of upload speed. By accepting the friction of slow writes and processing military-grade quantum cryptography, the network establishes a foundation capable of surviving unaltered for decades. Maintaining a global vault requires physical hardware, but rather than centralizing that hardware in massive data centers, this system relies on ordinary hardware spread across the world. This is a pure peer-to-peer network. It runs entirely on the unused storage and computing resources of everyday personal computers, completely eliminating the need for central servers. Independent node operators are rewarded for offering up their excess capacity. When a stranger's encrypted data chunk is stored on their machine, the operator earns the network's native ANT token. This map shows the core anti-hoarding mechanism. The protocol actively blocks multiple nodes in the same physical location from holding the same data chunk. Data is forced outward. Clustered server farms trying to game the system are rejected, operating at a heavy financial loss. Desktop nodes provide the massive capacity needed right now, but the architecture is designed to eventually overcome mobile OS background restrictions, turning everyday phones into nodes as well. Forcing data to distribute geographically makes it economically and physically impossible for a new corporate entity to buy up enough hardware to control the network. A permanent, indestructible network introduces a unique societal responsibility. The creator of Autonomi has voiced a specific fear. Early adopters might upload terabytes of pure, random noise, literal junk data, simply because the network capacity is there and they want to test the limits. Because this archive layer cannot be altered, edited, or censored by anyone, that digital junk will be locked in. It will sit on the network, taking up space for the entirety of its lifetime. The development team is actively appealing to the community to treat the network with respect. The goal is to curate our uploads and prioritize the art, history, and knowledge that humanity will actually want future generations to find. An uncensorable archive guarantees that our data will survive, but it leaves the value of that data entirely up to us. The Autonomi 2.0 archive is strictly a beta foundation. It is step one in a planned release schedule that will introduce a tsunami of faster, more complex products. The immediate next conceptual layer is something called XOX. XOX will provide dynamic, fast-changing local networks. These friend-of-a-friend connections will sit directly on top of the slow, global public archive, allowing tight-knit groups to share rapidly changing data securely. When AI automation inevitably disrupts traditional human labor, These localized, hyper-secure networks will provide the digital space for real human communities to connect, share, and exchange local value. Maintaining this independence requires action. If we want a peer-to-peer network with genuine privacy, we have to run the nodes, store the data, and stop relying on corporations to feed us the infrastructure. By combining a quantum-secure, immutable base layer with strict geographic node distribution, Autonomi 2.0 offers the digital bedrock necessary for a post-corporate society.